The boat's gone. Bateau disparu. Barca petito. Shift in. Understand?
Welcome to today's show. My name is John. As always, you can subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, formerly known as iTunes, or follow the links to social media in the podcast show notes. So please subscribe when you're finished listening. You can also go to classicmovierev.com to read notes, bios, and other random movie thoughts. Please follow the links in the show notes to Amazon, where you can purchase the ABCs of Film Noir in either paperback or Kindle versions. It has 27 pieces of original art, and I think you'll really enjoy the writing. Today's movie is The Frisco Kid, 1979. This is a pretty funny movie that didn't get much love when it was released. It is also a trove of Yiddish humor. The movie has a poor 6.4 rating on IMDb.com and only 53% on the tomato meter, with 66% audience approval on RottenTomatoes.com. It's a funny buddy flick. Roger Ebert pretty much killed the film in his review, but he did like Gene Wilder's performance. New York Times film critic Vincent Canby said, quote, "Asking Robert Aldrich to direct a sentimental Jewish comedy on the order of The Frisco Kid is like putting the late General George S. Patton Jr. in charge of a tap dancing class of tiny tots." Unquote. Streng. That's my attempt at saying harsh in Yiddish. Actors.
Right, and I'm a Shakespearean actor.
Gene Wilder plays a young rabbi, Avram. Wilder was first covered in the very funny Young Frankenstein 1974. Harrison Ford plays cowboy/bank robber Tommy. Ford was covered in Raiders of the Lost Ark 1981. William Smith is Matt Diggs, one of the bad guys. Smith was covered in Red Dawn 1984. Ian Wolfe shows up as the non-speaking Father Joseph. Val Bigzaglio played Chief Greycloud. Val was born in 1926 in New York City.
I'm walking here! I'm walking here!
He has done a ton of television, but is only known for a couple of movies. Saturday Night Fever 1977, where he played the dad and messed up John Travolta's hair, and The Frisco Kid 1979. He was a regular on television's Quincy M.E. 1976-83. Penny Pacer played Rosalie, the younger sister of the bride pledged to Avram. Penny was born in 1951 in New York City.
I'm walking here! I'm walking here!
Penny has been on a lot of television shows and a few movies. Her acting began with a small role in All the President's Men 1976. Other films include The In-Laws 1979, The Frisco Kid 1979, a small part in Miss Congeniality 2000, and Trying to Get Good, The Jazz Odyssey of Jack Sheldon 2008. Story.
Let me explain. No, there is too much. Let me sum up.
In 1850, a yeshiva school in Poland receives a request from San Francisco for a new rabbi. The professors debate
Mit die Indians. Und 19 Jahre Verwusst schicken Asamin.
But the head of the school sends for Avram, Gene Wilder. Avram is special and has a wonderful view of the world. When Avram enters the council, they all fall silent. The head rabbi tries to talk to him discreetly, but he keeps giving it away. All the other rabbis object, but the head overrules them. They decide that San Francisco is near New York. Avram's ship sails for Philadelphia, the city where all the brothers love each other.
I started out my great adventure and I left Poland for Philadelphia, the city where all the brothers love each other.
Avram narrates his story as he moves through the crowded dock. He soon finds out that the ship to San Francisco is gone because of the gold rush.
The boat's gone. Bateau disparu. Barca petito. Shift in. Understand?
There will not be another ship for 2 months. The man behind him in line, Daryl Diggs, George Zacinzo, starts crying that he has to get to San Francisco to see his dying mother, and he and his brother, Matt Diggs, William Smith, have already sold their wagon. Of course, Avram volunteers to help. Avram and Darrell go and meet Matt and the man that bought the wagon, Mr. Jones, Raymond Byrie. Jones says he wants $50 more than he paid for the wagon. Avram jumps in to pay the $50 over the protest of the brothers. They all agree that he will get a seat on the wagon for his money. In San Francisco, Samuel Bender, Jack Somack, reads a letter to the congregation that a rabbi is coming and bringing a Torah. The letter also says he plans to marry Bender's oldest daughter, Sarah Mendel, B.G. Barquette, who on hearing the news drops a cup because she's in love with someone else. Avram sets out for San Francisco in the wagon with Darrell. Matt is riding on a horse beside the wagon. They take a shortcut and Mr. Jones rides up and climbs into the wagon. He beats Avram and throws him out the back of the wagon. Jones throws out the Torah but keeps the medal that hangs on it. Avram is thrown out in his long johns as the crooks ride away laughing. Avram collects the items that they threw out of the wagon and finally gets dressed and recovers the Torah. They have taken all of his money. He keeps walking west towards San Francisco. After some time walking, he sees men that are speaking archaic German, which is very similar to Yiddish, and dressed in dark clothes. They are Pennsylvania Dutch, but they are very kind and take care of him for a few days before giving him money for a train to Akron. Avram is enjoying his train trip. A suspicious-looking cowboy, Tommy, Harrison Ford, goes to the restroom, and a very buxom lady comes out and sits by Avram. She could be a professional. The nervous Avram ducks out to the restroom as well. Tommy steps out of the bathroom wearing a bandana and begins robbing the train. He tells the people not to turn around because his partner is behind them with a shotgun. Tommy jumps and tells his pretend partner to jump at the next bend. Avram comes out of the bathroom and thinks everybody is playing Simon Says. Avram rides the train until it is Sabbath and he can't ride. He ends up getting work on a railroad crew. He manages to hit the foot of the meanest man with his hammer 3 times. He hugs it out. Then he smashes the same guy with a water bucket. Finally, he buys a horse and heads west again. He dreams of Sarah Mendel and his food is stolen by raccoons.
Oh, she knew what she meant to me.
Hey! This master! Hey, I'm back! I'm back from that! Oh, my food! Aye! Why me? My food you're gonna take? You got the whole world, you're gonna take my food?
He tries to hunt birds and fish. Tommy watches him from up on a hill. Tommy finally shoots the fish. They camp together and enjoy Avram's cooking. Avram finds out that he's been going in the wrong direction. The 2 men bond over the campfire. In the morning, the plan is to go their separate ways. Seeing that Avram is hopeless, Tommy decides to travel with him and lead him to California.
I just continue straight as piss till I come to the ocean. Take a left, keeping the ocean on my right shoulder, and just hot-tail it right into San Francisco.
What do you call this in Jewish?
Tuchus.
Or you keep your eyes on this tuchus and don't take them off till I tell you.
Keep my eyes on the tuchus.
Tommy teaches him that it is the same as oi gewalt, which really means woe is me. In San Francisco, the congregation is building a temple and Sarah Mendel is playing kissy face with a boy. Avram and Tommy make it to a high mountain town. Tommy and Avram end up in a barn and Tommy wants to wait until the weather is better. Avram is determined to go on. They have a big fight and in the morning head out into the mountains. Tommy helps Avram survive the cold. It is so cold that night they have to spoon. Finally, they come down the western slope of the mountains and head into the high desert. They come to a small western town. Tommy leaves Avram outside while he goes in and robs the bank. Avram had no idea that it was happening.
Move it! What's happening? We just robbed the bank! What did you say? We just robbed the bank! What do you mean we?
And the town forms a posse to chase them. Tommy and Avram flee into the wild and Avram attacks Tommy for mixing him up in the bank robbery. Finally, Tommy pulls a gun and Avram gets indignant. They have to keep riding as the posse closes in. They would do better getting away, but Avram won't ride the horse on the Sabbath. Tommy gets mad and leaves Avram behind. He catches up by midday. Tommy shows him where the posse is. Avram still won't ride until the sun sets. Finally, they start riding again. After several days, they lose the posse, only to have them replaced by Indians. In the attempt to escape from the Indians, Avram loses the Torah. He rides back and Tommy refuses to go. The next scene shows the two together after they are captured by the Indians. Avram starts singing his prayers. Chief Grey Cloud, Val Bisiglio, comes out and asks Avram who the hell he is.
Who the hell are you? Me, Rabbi. Jewish Rabbi. Come from far away, across big ocean. I read much books about Indians.
You don't speak English very well.
Tommy tells the chief that Avram is a holy man. Chief Grey Cloud has the Torah. Avram agrees to purify his soul with fire in return for the Torah. They slowly lower Avram onto the fire, but he refuses to give up the Torah. Chief Grey Cloud orders him pulled back up. He says Avram is brave and Tommy is true. They have a big dinner and Avram explains why God doesn't make rain, and then it rains.
Yes or no? Can your God make rain?
Yes.
But he doesn't.
That's right. He gives us strength when we're suffering. He gives us compassion when all that we feel is hatred. He gives us courage when we're searching around blindly like little mice in the darkness. But he does not make rain. Of course, sometimes just like that, he'll change his mind.
Avram passes out from peyote he has been eating and wakes up in a cloistered monastery. At first, he thinks he is in Christian heaven. Tommy and the Torah are there too. Father Joseph, Ian Wolfe, hasn't spoken in 45 years. When Avram gets one of the men to talk, they all laugh. At the next town, Avram sends the bank robbing money back. Tommy is going to bathe and drink and some other things. Avram waits in the street for Tommy to finish. The drunks are wandering around and shouting, "Wahoo!" Avram starts dancing and singing, "Wahoo!" and is told by the sheriff that dancing in the streets is not allowed. Avram goes into the saloon where he can dance. He sees Daryl, Matt, and Mr. Jones gambling. Avram takes the Torah medal back and demands his $50 from Matt. Matt pushes Avram and he hits back. Then Matt hits him again and says that's just to get your attention. They beat the crap out of Avram. Finally, they lay him on the bar and Matt is going to smash his face with a small beer barrel. Tommy shoots the barrel and makes him put $200 on the bar. He makes them leave the rest of their money and orders them to go away. Avram and Tommy make it to the coast. Tommy says he is going south to Sutter's Mill to look for gold. Avram wants Tommy to be the best man at his wedding.
Where are you going?
I'm going that way. Sutter's Mill. That's where the gold is.
But I don't want you to go.
You are my best friend.
I'm your best friend?
You're my only friend. Now listen to me, cuz. You keep your eyes on this tukas. Don't you take them off till we get to San Francisco.
The two finally decide to go to San Francisco together. Along the way, they stop to swim in the ocean. While they are horsing around, Daryl, Matt, and Jones show up. Tommy jumps for his gun, and Avram runs to get the Torah out of the fire. Tommy shoots Jones and wounds Matt, who runs away. Tommy gets hit, and both he and Daryl are out of bullets. Tommy is yelling for Avram to shoot Matt as he goes for the other gun. Finally, Avram pulls the trigger. Matt watches from the bushes. Avram is ashamed that he went for the Torah before saving his best friend, and he thinks that killing a man makes him not worthy to be a rabbi. Tommy, on the other hand, feels like God sent him to show Avram the way. In San Francisco, Avram dresses like a cowboy before delivering the Torah to the Bender home. He meets the younger daughter, Rosalie, Penny Pacer. It's like at first sight. He leaves the Torah with Rosalie and goes back to the bar to meet Tommy. Tommy is trying to talk Avram into going and being a rabbi. Bender and the entire congregation come to the bar. They think Tommy is the rabbi. Avram tells them that he is the rabbi, and they say he doesn't look like a rabbi.
Seid ihr der Rebbe?
Huh?
Wat mir gesagt, dass unser neuer Rebbe ist angekommen. Ist das hier?
What's he talking about? What's he talking about?
He wants to know if you're the rabbi.
I'm the rabbi.
You're the rabbi? It's funny, you don't look like a rabbi.
I just traveled 3,000 miles across this country, and I was thanking my best friend for getting me here alive. My name is Avram Belinsky, and I come from a small village in Poland. And don't you judge people by their appearance.
The crowd is happy that they have a rabbi. Avram and Rosalie are making eyes. Tommy sees Matt looking in the window. He goes outside and Matt knocks him out from behind. Rosalie and Avram decide that they will be married and everything seems right in the world. Matt bursts into the bar with a shot and says he wants to have a fair fight with Avram because he killed his brother.
Bartender, I just want it down for the record. This is going to be a fair fight. Rabbi, let's go.
No more killing.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Avram says no more killing. When Avram admits he killed Daryl, the bartender sends him out into the street. In the street, Matt sticks the gun that Daryl was killed with into Avram's pants. When Avram won't draw, Matt starts shooting at his feet. Finally, Matt runs to hit Avram with the butt of his gun. Avram sidesteps and trips Matt. Then he kicks him in the butt and says, "That was just to get your attention." When Avram says no more killing and throws his gun away, Matt goes for it. Tommy shows up and shoots the gun away. Avram steps into the middle and gives a solution.
Wait a second. Now wait a second. Let's talk this over. I'm not a rabbi for nothing, you know.
He says he will take San Francisco and Matt can have the rest of America.
I'll tell you what I think is the best thing. I'll take San Francisco. You take the rest of America. Now get the hell out of here. Would somebody please show this poor owl the way out of town?
Then he asked the congregation to show this poor owl out of town. Tommy is the best man at the wedding of Avram and Rosalie. The movie ends with dancing. World famous short summary, keep your eyes on the tuchus. I hope you enjoyed today's show. I really appreciate you spending the time listening. You can find connections to social media and email on my site at classicmovierev.com. There are links in the podcast show notes as well. Remember, this show is completely free and independent. All that I ask is that you jump over to Apple Podcasts and give me a review. It really helps the show get found. Beware the Moors.